Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another installment. Today, we're going to be looking at inside 45s, just odd angles that create what we typically call a 45 in the business. Um, these 45s are usually free flowing, where you have to have a thing called no coat or a flex tape, flex bead. They're called different names, but this is it. And prior to putting the mud on the wall, I always recommend that you cut them and prep them just to make sure. Because after this, you're gonna want to just install it without all the fumble. So the mud that I'm using is a CGC red all-purpose mud at this point. I'm not using the green stuff because it's not necessary. Also, in this particular version, I have the mud tinted. I'm sure the mud was used for something else prior to this moment. But as you can see, I'm prepping the wall, putting the mud on the wall here. The piece is already cut, and I'm just laying it flat against each inside corner. It's kind of important to get it that way because, just imagine the wall's flat. There's no curve, there's no buildup, there's nothing. You're making it flat, so it has to be flat against each of the inside corners. Try to wipe away, as in like towards the corner first. It'll help to tighten it down. And you don't want to, go over it hard the first time. You don't want to go over it too aggressively because you might shift your angle. What you see me doing here is just me applying some mud right away while I'm there. I've already installed the thing, but I might as well coat it one time. There's no point to come back to give it the second coat, right? Or to coat it. Um, you might as well do it now while you're there in position. And again, you'll see I'm doing it throughout. These pieces have already been cut before. The mud that we're using is not necessarily important at this point. You could make it priority and use the green mud, but because the way this material is, it won't break, it won't crack easily. It's pretty good. Again, it's the flex bead, and those, you can find them at any hardware store. Yeah, so as we're finishing up here, we've installed the top angle. And we're just trying to keep it flat against the ceiling, try to keep it flat against the wall. Each wall needs to be flat. So, just try to keep it flat. While you're up here, some of these tight corners, some of these edges need a little bit more extra care. Now is a good time to do that because the whole thing will dry. And then when you come back the next time, it's pretty much a skim coat after that. In this particular scenario, this is just the opposite side of that wall that we were just looking at. And on this scenario here, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just like do both of them at the same time, in contrast to the other one, which was just like one at a time. I think because they're shorter span, but it's the same idea across. You need a full body of mud at the bottom at the base before you install the no coat, a full base, and that is like the key to taping. You must have full coverage at the back there, so whenever you install anything on top of it, it's completely gluing it. Consider the mud glue, and consider the paper because realistically that's what it is, and it's gonna need some mud behind there to hold it to the wall. And again, flat and even is my consistent saying. It's important that you think of your wall to be flat and even. You don't want one high area, one low area. You apply the pressure to the knife, and you keep your movement consistent. While you're up here, it's good to put a bit of the extra work in. Cover those joints, cover those edges, tighten things up. Because when the material dries, what tends to happen when the material dries is that you have a hard surface that is way better to work with. And the benefits of having your surface hard is that you can sand it and then just build up, or scrape it. That's another option. But now is a good time for building it up. So yeah, I've left a few of the dry one. These are some finished versions. These are not the exact same, but they're finished. And this is what you're looking for realistically is a little bit of the mud that hides the edge of the tape. You can barely see it right there. The tape is a little bit submerged under the mud, and that's what you're looking for because you're not trying to go too hard on this particular product. You're just trying to put a thin layer in there. In any case though, again, like I said, I've listed a few wins. These ones are a bit more dramatic, where, for example, that corner takes a bit more work. the ones directly above don't. Inside corner right here, it doesn't take much work on this inside corner. You can treat it like a three-way. Same thing with this one. You can treat it like a three-way. It's pretty easy to deal with once you have this particular part. It's just the opposite end. This is another three-way, for example. Just treat it like a three-way corner. It's when you get to this end over here. Well, this one's not so bad. The corner bead is tying up, but there is some build-up to do on these 45s. There will be some work. There will be some practice. Again, things to remember. Get ready by cutting it first. Don't just try to cut it while you're there, measure it and free flow it. Cut it, get it right before you start, and then start the process. That will help a whole lot. Wherever the transitions are, treat it like a three-way.